Okay, so before we start our episode, you need to go watch this video right up here. It's my prediction video for episode 6. Don't worry, I'll wait. Okay, having said that, I was right. So, we're gonna break down all things Kang. But wait, there's more. If you like, if you subscribe, and if you put a comment in the comment section of this video, you'll be entered for a set of Loki Funko Pops that we will send to you for free. You can enter in this video, and you can enter in our Easter egg video to get your hands on those Funko Pops. So you got twice as many chances to enter for those Funko Pops. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to like this video, and then comment below so we have your name and we know that you got this message, and then watch our scorecard video that'll come out next week and see if you won. So, having said that, back to our regular programming. Welcome to the after credits scene. I'm Rodney. Super excited you guys are with us for this breakdown of the finale of Loki Season 1. By the way, as we found out in our bonus scene, we are getting a second season. Maybe they'll call it Loki Lost in the Multiverse, or There Is Only Kang. But it was fantastic. I loved it. There was a ton of dialogue, probably arguably one of the best episodes of the series, right along with episode 5. 4, 5, and 6 definitely were some of the best episodes. Tom Hiddleston wasn't messing with us or trolling us at all. Episode 6 did not have a lot of action in it, but it had a ton of dialogue and a ton of revelations and quite a bit of setup for a new season, but what that season holds is anybody's guess. The back and forth between Sylvie and Loki and Kang was fantastic. Jonathan Majors in that role, who I did not think we were going to see this early on. I thought maybe we would get a version of Kang, but we would get him in a different role, or a different actor, so to speak. I was surprised that they went ahead and used him, although it does make sense since he is an immortal, out-of-time type person. To actually use the same guy, that's going to be fantastic, and if he has to play all the versions of his variants moving forward, I'm totally okay with that. He knocked it out of the park. I didn't know a lot about him before this show, other than he's in Lovecraft Country on HBO Max right now, but fantastic acting from him and everyone else involved. The Ravonna and Mobius moments in her office. The only part that I got a little bit wrong was Ravonna looking at the rings on her table next to her sofa, and that was just a reminder of Mobius rather than some kind of nod that we were in a different timeline. I thought they would use that more. The throwback to her ink pen being a reminder of her life before she was pruned or brought to the TVA, that she was a variant as well, and she knew full well what was going on, was an interesting little connection as well. And I thought a really cool way to let the other Minutemen know that they were all variants, rather than just trying to explain it to them. They ran them through it and they showed them. So we got a few time jumps in there. You also got to find out where Ravonna was from. She was from Ohio in 2015. So a few little backstory things that they gave you real fast right there. But let's just talk real quick about the beginning of this episode. Now, I already have a video in mind that I'll be throwing out at some point about talking about the multiverse and what it looks like now and what that means. And I'm sure we can all fill the comments with ideas about the multiverse. But as we start off the episode, we hear everything that we heard from the MCU thus far, phases 1 through 3. We heard the song at the end of Endgame with Peggy and Steve. We backtrack through things like Guardians of the Galaxy, Korg, Thor, and Ragnarok. We get a whole lot of different things in that audio file. Turn on the subtitles and watch that again if you haven't, because it'll kind of tell you about some of those things. And while we're seeing that, we're pulling back in our universe from Earth, the sun, all these different things. And then it flips us for a second and we pull out of that universe and you see a timeline, and then it jumps over to another one. And as we go into that one, we hear things like Vision saying, "What is grief if not love persevering?" and some of the things that happened in the Loki series. Now, one interpretation of this could be that that these are different multiverses, and that you can still, in fact, jump multiverses. Maybe Kang just isolated timelines somehow, or maybe there's more things out there and Kang only thinks he did that. I'm not really sure about that. One interpretation, which is very interesting to me, is that we just jumped out of the Marvel movieverse and jumped into the Disney Plus universe. And when these things jump across, which they already have if you've seen Black Widow, then we'll get some of those back and forth things, but they haven't really explained that. Or this could be us jumping out of phases 1 through 3 and jumping into phase 4. I think you're probably going to get a lot of information from the director and the writers and Kevin Feige moving forward, who at this point I will be referring to as He Who Remains. Not for this episode, of course, because we need to actually talk about that guy, but for now on, for my purposes in the MCU and my videos, Kevin Feige is now He Who Remains, since he knows all and he sees all and he does all. He's basically the Willy Wonka of the MCU. So, all of this dialogue, all of this back and forth, I love that Kang gave us more of the multiverse rules, that he kind of used his own TemPad watch, his little whatever you want to call it, to show us the different levels and how he interacted with those different levels, and then how he consolidated the timeline. He even says he is a much older version, that he's gone by many names, that he was a ruler, a conqueror, which is a version we're definitely going to see later on. But in the comics, this story, this version of Kang is actually called Immortus. I think He Who Remains is a really cool name. It's very fitting. It's a little more ominous, and you don't have to actually use that version of Kang and kind of throw him away in this episode, or throw that title away in this episode. Maybe they'll pop that up again later. But the little hints that things weren't right and that things still aren't right, going into his castle and seeing the one statue that has been destroyed, there's still some throwaway things there as to what's really going on. And I think people are probably going to parse this episode pretty heavy moving forward for the next, 6 months or however long it takes for us to get another TV series or movie out for people to sink their teeth into. But you're probably not going to learn a lot much more about this until Multiverse of Madness and No Way Home. You're going to get some of that multiverse stuff there, and we're going to get more information on how it works. But again, the acting here and the dialogue and the back and forth, the quips, I didn't even take enough notes to be able to have a conversation about this with you guys, because it was so quick and so back and forth. I thought Loki and Sylvie's reconciliation, their fight against each other, that she can't trust and he's someone who can't be trusted, that they fought each other, their personalities were at war with each other, that Loki being at war with himself was a really cool visual thing, and then him actually being able to stop her and say, "Look, I care about you." I wondered when they were talking to begin with why he didn't just drop the sword, but it made for a much more interesting resolution when he drops it right in front of Kang and says, "I care about you," and that was how he stopped her, but also how he tried to profess finally his concern about her. And she kind of betrays him. I guess you could call that a betrayal. But him showing up back in the TVA, getting booted back to the TVA, was a really cool little twist. And then I was kind of happy that we finally got a little bit of our time twistiness. It wasn't a lot, but Loki finding himself in a different version of the TVA that is now solely run by Kang. There were no 3 timekeepers, it was only Kang. Probably not a good thing, maybe not a bad thing, who knows. But then the bonus scene being nothing but just Loki will return in season 2 was a really cool and exciting thing, although it felt a little like Captain America teasing us at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, that we waited so long for something, such a letdown. I thought we'd get maybe a little more of Jonathan Majors there, or a little bit of Sylvie or something like that, so we don't know what she did. She's outside of time now. Where's she going to go? What she's going to do is going to be really interesting, but they've got a lot of stuff to play with. They've got a lot of things they can pull from and a lot of ways they can go, because now we got multiverse stuff. My question is, did we have it all along in the form of little branches or things that Kang allowed? Things that, were we over here in this world? Were we over here in this world? Who knows? If I'm still not ready to give up on my own Captain America's shield theory, that Steve jumped out of his timeline, so to speak, at the end of Endgame when he lived out his life with Peggy Carter. And maybe the shield that he grabbed, that he ends up giving to Sam at the end of Endgame, is from this other timeline or this other branch, but maybe not a multiverse thing. Who knows? They didn't give us enough to really answer some of those questions, but just enough to understand what was happening here. And I think the movies will explain what's going on everywhere else. That maybe the things that are happening in the Disney Plus shows are also, now we've gotten that, but now we're gonna see what happens in the movies, and they're going to deal with what these guys did, because it's the first time that things from the TV world are going to affect the movie world. So if you take the two universes we did see, we know that one of them is the movie world, we know that one of them is the TV world, and the things that have been happening in the movie world have already affected this, but now we're going to see this affect this. And so maybe that's what they were going for. And like I said, it's going to take a whole nother video to discuss it and share it. I'm curious what you guys think about this episode. There was a whole bunch to talk about. The Easter eggs are going to be few and far between. There wasn't really a ton of stuff in there that was Easter egg worthy, I thought, because they were wrapping up a lot of stuff. But the wrap up was very fulfilling. Short of seeing Sam in his Captain America uniform at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, this episode not only for me lived up to the hype, but it also left me fulfilled, and I was more excited about it. What's going to happen? What's going to go on? But we'll review that along with, Loki's place as a series in the order of Disney Plus shows compared to WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier in another video called our Scorecard video, which will air in another week. And we'll also talk about best Easter eggs. We will talk about who won our giveaway. So if you haven't entered for that, subscribe to our channel, put your name in the comments below, and you'll be entered into that to win those Loki Funko Pops. But we're going to use that video to rank our episodes, to talk about this series more in depth, and to really get to the bottom of some of these other things. So stay tuned for that video as well. Tell us what you guys think. Super excited to be with you guys on this journey. We've got a lot of Disney Plus shows and movies coming up in the future. There's a whole lot of Marvel content yet to come in 2021, and we'll be here with you guys for all of it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.